This time I have a Sony DSR PD170. This is a DV Cam Professional camera that was shipped in from a viewer. It's already been to another shop, and it arrived with more different problems than what he first described. Let's take a peek at it and see what's wrong. This is a DSR PD170 DV Cam Sony 3-chip standard definition. This was the DV Cam format, which was Sony's professional format. Not really much different than consumer DV, except for the tape speed's a little faster, so the video tracks are spaced out a little more and a little bit wider, which of course resulted in fewer dropouts. At least that's what they were supposed to have. Plus the fact that it used such stuff as locked audio for accurate editing, which is something that the consumer format of course lacked. This one here was sent in. The complaint on this one when it was sent in was that the flip out screen doesn't work. So we'll see what happens here when I turn it on. Will it play? And now the camera is playing, but not on this screen. You can see that it's a triple image screen. The picture is working. Therefore we know that the camera itself is functional. Well, playback is functional. But what I've noticed is not functional is when I put it into camera mode, I'm just going to get a black screen. If I even get that. Oh, now it's working. What the heck? When I tried this earlier, I wasn't getting anything from the camera. I was just getting a black screen. Well, now I've just got a blue screen. I have nothing. No. Oh, there. Now it comes on. So that's interesting. When I was trying this earlier, I just had a blank screen. But the lens zoom does not work. The focus does not work. There we go. Okay, the focus works there. What about zoom? Zoom is not working. Neither the zoom buttons on the grip or on top of the camera do anything. So I don't know whether the iris was stuck when the first time I plugged it in. I plugged it in when the package arrived, and I got no video. I got nothing on the flip out screen, and I got nothing on the audio or the video output. That was a day or two ago when I first plugged this in. Actually, it was Tuesday. Today's Thursday. But maybe it was because it was cold shipment. But the video actually is working now, but it's not. The zoom lens is not working. So we got more than one problem on here. I'm pushing the buttons to zoom the lens. Neither control work, nor does the zoom ring on the lens itself. ND filter works. How about autofocus? Oh, okay. It just went off. That's what I was experiencing. So you saw it. It just went off. So we got more than one problem on here. First of all, we've got the LCD screen's not working, but also the camera section has a problem. Good thing I was rolling when this went out, because it was this is how it was when I first plugged it in. The fellow that sent it told me the camera was working, just the flip out screen wasn't. But we've got more than one problem, and he also informed me that it had been to another shop and they walked away from it. They couldn't fix it. So there's a possibility that I'm going to be doing the same thing on this, but let's just see whether it's something that can be resolved on this. Okay, now I got a picture again. and the triple image on the little viewfinder. Will the autofocus work? It's on autofocus now, and autofocus does not appear to be working either. So put it on manual focus. And roll the focus ring. Can I get it back in focus? Yeah. Okay, so I can manually focus, but autofocus doesn't work. If I take it out of focus slightly, and then either push the push auto or flip it to auto, it doesn't focus. If I push it to infinity, it goes right out of focus. Focus is to infinity. Try to get it back in focus again. It's cranking and cranking and cranking on this thing to bring it into focus. It's not very quick at focusing, that's for sure. Anyway, that's beside the point. We got multiple problems. Let's see if we can resolve it. It almost looks like horizontal hold is off on this, but there's not going to be any adjustments on this one unless the signal is missing. But I mean, it just looks like it's way off frequency. I'm going to remove the back cover from the viewfinder itself and just take a quick peek at the board. It's likely going to be something on the viewfinder board itself. I was hoping that I'd have another board because I've got several scrap cameras with LCD screens, but I've tried 4 of them and all 4 are different. All 4 cameras I've tried have totally different boards to each other and to this one. So I don't know how many different LCD flip-out screens that Sony had, but they had a number of them because the ones that I've tried so far are completely different. What we're going to be looking at on this is a bad board for the display. If I run my finger across the back and depress it in certain places, you'll see that it will actually start to change, and I almost had it back on frequency there, but it's there you see when I just move my finger around here on the board. I might even be able to get it to lock momentarily. It is picking up the sync signal from the camera, however, because it is synced up. If it was not detecting the sync signal, because it's an external sync, the sync comes in on a separate line. If it wasn't detecting a sync signal at all, it would just be rolling, and it's not. It is synced up. It's just not synced up correctly. That black bar you see, that's actually the vertical blanking interval. If I turn it around to face the front of the camera, the image normally inverts upside down so that it looks the right way up, and that black bar switches from the bottom of the screen to the top. So it is getting a signal, it's just not processing it correctly. It's got to be the processor on that little board of the LCD driver is where I think the problem is. So it needs a new board assembly, which would be impossible to find these days. And if not impossible, it would be, I'm sure, very expensive. Camera's out of focus again. Let's try playing this tape so we can have some actual video to display. Because if we're powered on the camera, it goes completely out of focus. We've got multiple problems with this camera. One has got a problem with the lens. It's not focusing. Autofocus is not working. The zoom is not working, and this display is also bad. Because of that, it's likely, this is not really worth putting any money into. I have no idea even what it would cost to repair such a unit if you could get the part for it. I was hoping that with my scrap cameras that I've got, because I've got 4 cameras that use these 3-inch LCD screens, I was hoping that one of the cameras that I have would have had the same board. but apparently not. I'm just pressing on the chips on the board. I think it's a connection problem on one of them. Because I did have it pop in for a second. Of course, I wasn't rolling when I did that, but I did have it pop in with a stable picture for a second there. I'm trying to do it again, get it on camera. Where I'm touching is it just in the vicinity of the sharp video processor chip. The fact that the LCD screen in the back is working, so the camera is putting out the signal. It's just the display, something on the board here is bad. Where I'm probing is right in the area of this IC, right in here. And I can get the signal to shift back and forth horizontally. So either one of these support components or the chip itself. These are normally replaced as an entire board, right? When they go bad, you just replace the board. But that was, 30 years ago. I'm just going to pull the side panel off the camera and just take a quick look inside here. See if we can see why the zoom lens isn't working. As the customer said, somebody else was in it. So let's see if he's left anything unplugged. Like the video signals there, and there's the timing signals are on the connector going in. Okay, this should lift off. Looks like it has been dropped. That piece has been broken before. To get all the screws out, the camera should pop right apart. And I'm just looking to see if there's any connectors or anything that have been jostled loose, because to say the lens does not, the lens is not focusing, or not, I should say not focusing. The lens is focusing manually, but not automatically. But it's not zooming at all. So I want to make sure that just something hasn't been knocked loose on it. Because the manual zoom ring nor the nor the buttons do anything whatsoever to it. So unfortunately, the way this thing's built, everything's built in from one side to the other. This left cover doesn't appear to even come off on here. It should. This should lift right off like the other one did. Something's holding it. There must be another hidden screw here somewhere that I've missed that's holding it on. I got that one. But, okay, there they are. I knew there was a couple more hidden screws in here somewhere, and there they are. This side should lift off. Anything else I've missed? I think I got them all. Side cover lifts off like that. This is the one connector up top. It plugs in. We'll just reseat all the connectors. Many times on these silly cameras, that's all you have to do is just reseat connectors, and weird problems just magically go away. I know it seems crazy, but that's what happens a lot of times. You get some a bit of oxidation between the cables and their connectors on the board, and you end up with weird problems. Oh, what have we got here? It looks like this connector is broken. Look at this connector right here. So, when we look at this connector here, it looks like someone broke the end off it and just welded it down with a soldering iron right there. Look at that. See that? That's what looks like happened to that one. And maybe that's why we're getting weird problems. Ah, man, just the fact that someone's been inside this unit just gives me just an overall bad feeling that I'm not going to be able to do anything really on it, because I don't know what damage they've caused. I've already seen that they've damaged one connector. Is there any other connectors and stuff that have been damaged on here? Well, there's a good chance that there is. That was a prime example, that one right there, which I was able to take apart and reseat that connector. But the fact that someone used a soldering iron to hold it together because they broke the end off of it, you see, the little wing off the end is broken. So I don't know whether it's making a good connection or not, but reseat these ones. I'll plug it in again just before going any further, and just see if any difference has been made. that one on and just plug this one in over here. Then I can power it up, and we'll just see if I've made any changes. Like, will the zoom lens work, and will the autofocus work? Because if they're not working, then it's not really much point in going any further. Okay, so I'm just going to try powering this unit up and just see if I've made any noticeable change to anything. Okay, the screen is still scrambled there, but is the lens going to change any different? I'm going to have any zoom on the lens. That's what I'm curious. No picture at the moment. Nothing. That's what I initially had when I first plugged it in. The first time I had no output from the camera. Got a black screen right now. I think at this point I'm just going to wash my hands of this. A shop back east already had it, and I guess they told him it was uneconomical to repair, and then he sent it to me to see, like, for a second opinion whether I felt it was economical to repair, and I don't think so. Because these things are board level repair on them, and we've got multiple problems. It's not like we've got one problem. This unit has obviously been bashed around because there's pieces of the cabinet that are broken, like where the screw goes through here. That magnesium's broken there. There's a piece of magnesium that's broken there, right? So this thing's obviously taken a tumble at least once. So you don't know where the damage has occurred. Anytime something's been dropped or fallen or whatever, you don't know how far the damage has gone internally. So it's a tough call, but it's a call you pretty much have to make whenever you get something like this, that you don't know where the damage is, and it could get real expensive real quick. And then there's the parts availability. I remember back in the day when these were still relatively common, and I wasn't doing the PD170, but I was doing the VX1000 and the VX2000, and there was a couple of cases where I had to do a main board replacement on it. And the board at the time, and this is when the boards were available, it was something ridiculous, like $700 for a replacement board, $700 or $800 for a board, because they got a wave over a boat and ruined the board. So it's that was back in the 90s when these were around. It became to the point where I finally told the guy that owned it. It was like for a summer camp, a kid's summer camp. I finally told him, I said, listen, don't bring it back. I don't want to see it again. Because he kept bringing the camera in every few months. It got dropped or banged around or had some intermittent problem or glitch or something, because it was just out in the field. It got bumped around and dropped. And the only way we could fix the things properly was to change boards. You're talking $1,000 every time a board got swapped, more than that. But anyway, I'm just going to throw this one together and get a hold of the fellow that owns it and let him know what my preliminary findings are, though he's probably already seen the video because I'm going to put this up. I was debating whether I should put this up or not, but I'll throw it up. I'll put it up on the channel, and just so you guys can see what one of these things looks like inside. But even back in the day, like these were not a product that you repaired down to component level. These were board level replacements only. You had to change the entire board. That's all Sony would sell, was the entire board for them. Okay, that goes in like that. As I say, there's two screws that hold this together, one on either side. But as you can see, this other side is already broken. There's a chunk missing out of it. The piece was in place, but it's broken. It goes in to this side like this. Alright, the unit's all back together. Thanks for watching.